What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Edgar. I'm your YouTube older brother and the person you come to when you need advice and just insights into the world. If you're not new here, then you may notice something a little different this time. I decided to invest some money into a mic, so hopefully the audio sounds a lot better this time. Let me know how it goes. Anyway, let's get into the meat and potatoes of today's video. When it comes to sayings and pieces of advice, few are as popular as fake it till you make it. In fact, I'd be willing to bet money that A, you've had someone say it to you, or B, you've said it to someone. And it's not hard to understand why it's used so often. I mean, it's catchy, it rhymes, it sounds easy to do, and it's been around for a while. The phrase is dated back to the early 70s, but the idea itself is much older than that. It's so old, in fact, that Aristotle wrote about something very similar in his Virtue Ethics when he said that a person becomes virtuous by acting virtuously. In other words, if we act the way that virtuous people act, then we ourselves will eventually become virtuous. The most interesting thing about this is that while nobody's actually done a study on the phrase itself, other related studies on this idea have shown that things like confident body language can actually affect the outcome of the things you were doing. That's why I was power posing in the beginning. So let me give you an example, right? Say that you have to give a presentation. If you come out head held high, standing up straight, you're gonna feel a lot more confident and you're gonna probably perform better than if you came in slouching, looking at your toes and just being awkward. This is proven by science. I'll leave a link in the description to a study so you guys can read it if you don't believe me. But if it works, why am I saying it's bad advice? Here's the thing. If you didn't notice, my examples have all been based around the principles of this advice, right? The central theme. And that's because my issue isn't with the idea, it's with the phrase itself. Before you even begin applying the principles of fake it till you make it, you're already starting with the wrong perspective of what it's trying to instill within you. Fake it till you make it essentially implies that if you pretend to be where you want to be, it'll help you get there. The problem is that the idea of faking something has always had a negative connotation to it, right? It implies that you're being dishonest or you're a fraud or a phony. Let's say, for example, that you're trying to grow big on YouTube. Fake it till you make it would say that you have to act like you're already big so that you can get to that point. And this is where the problems start rolling in right away. One of the primary issues here is that even if you act like you're big, you're not. And you know you're not. And this can catch up to you. It's funny, during my research I actually read this article that said something like, faking it is the birthplace of imposter syndrome. And it's true. Imposter syndrome will probably hit you harder than most people because you started your entire approach with this idea that you're faking it. And you really are faking it. So even if this approach helps you out in the beginning and you're performing well, then deep down you know that this is just some sort of persona that you dreamed up to help you get there. YouTube audiences in particular are really into authenticity. So if you know you're faking it, they'll know you're faking it, and the whole thing will just come off as dishonest. On top of that, trying to start off immediately acting like a big YouTuber will probably be overwhelming and you will eventually burn yourself out. The people at the top of this platform have years of experience that they've gained through trial and error. The reason they make it look easy is because they've been doing this shit for a long time. But if someone with no experience, no prior knowledge of editing, filming, writing, tries to replicate those results, because they were told to fake it till they make it, they'll probably find that it takes a lot more work than they can keep up with that early into the journey, and it's just not gonna work out for them. Also, I think it's important to note that as you grow, as you hit different levels, there's gonna be different approaches that you have to take, or that you can take. Keeping up with the YouTube example, a big YouTuber and a small YouTuber will not have the same approach. The reason for this is that large YouTubers already have the luxury of an audience, which means they can leverage economies of scale and make videos about basically whatever the hell they want and still get decent views. This doesn't work as well for smaller creators, so simply faking it till they make it probably wouldn't get them very far. By the way, I keep using YouTube because this is kind of the path that I'm on at the moment, but this can be applied to any area of life, so really assess your situation and put the shoe on wherever it fits. Now again, I want to emphasize that the idea, right, the principles of fake it till you make it can work if done correctly. The problem is that the name we've given it creates this negative outlook on what we're trying to accomplish. And I'm not the only one that thinks so. I mean, therapists have been using these principles in their treatments for a long time, but even they don't call it fake it till you make it because it's horrible advice. Instead, they tell their patients to act as if. Basically, if someone suffers from depression, simply acting as if they're not depressed can have a positive impact on their mental health. Going out more, hanging out with friends, smiling more, these are all things that are considered to be outside of the norm of depression. But they're also all things that can help someone feel better, even if they're not feeling happy internally. Now, of course, this isn't some magical cure that's gonna end all of your mental health problems, but it does help. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, if you're at Eeyore levels, simply acting happy isn't gonna put you at SpongeBob levels. But you'll probably end up somewhere in the middle, so like Charlie Brown. Anyway, this is all good and well, but I'm also not really a fan of act as if for semi-obvious reasons.
As if!
Yeah. So I want to suggest a new one that a friend of mine recently said. Instead of fake it till you make it, embody it until you become it. Yeah, I know it doesn't rhyme, but what do you fucking do? And that everything has to be fun. But on a serious note, the reason why I love Embody Until You Become It so much is because it flips the phrase from faking what you want to become into a phrase that you must act upon in order to achieve your desired outcome. The definition of embody in this context is to represent or exemplify a particular quality, trait, mindset, or behavior through one's actions, demeanor, or presence. That's kind of a mouthful, but if we go back to that YouTuber example, if you want to become a big YouTuber, you must embody the traits and behaviors of big YouTubers by acting the way they do. Adopt their work ethic. Put in the same amount of research that they do in their videos. Study and learn their editing techniques so you can apply them to your videos. The great thing about this is that you're no longer faking. You're learning and growing so that you can become who you want to be. You're altering your behavior until these newly adopted behaviors become an intrinsic part of who you are. This will in turn shift your mindset from being a faker to being someone who's a work in progress when it comes to their goals. And that's where you want to be. This mindset will also help you avoid some of the common pitfalls that come with faking it. Imposter syndrome may still happen, but it won't be as rampant because you understand that you're working on improving and you have a positive mindset towards growth. You'll also likely avoid burnout because you can learn and grow at your own pace. You can choose to dedicate every single second of every day to improving, or you can take it slow and steady. It's just about finding what works for you. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you by saying that switching your mindset from fake it till you make it to embody it until you become it is gonna solve all your problems and help you achieve all of your goals. Growth is tough and it takes time, especially if you're not totally sure where you're going. That said, I'm personally of the belief that you can simply begin your journey by heading in the general direction of your interests. I talk about that much more in depth in this video, so click that next and I'll catch you all next time. Peace.